Coming up, the Magic shock the Warriors and Trae Young goes off in Madison Square Garden. This is Locked On Now NBA.
The biggest games, the best performances, expert analysis. You are Locked On Now.
What's going on, everyone? You are listening to Locked On Now NBA, local experts on the biggest stories on the hardwood. I'm your host, Kim Becker, and thanks so much for making Locked On Now your first listen every weekday. Our Locked On NBA hosts are here to help break down everything from the night in basketball. The Bucks beat down on the Bulls in last night's biggest game.
The biggest game.
The Milwaukee Bucks rolled over the Chicago Bulls last night as Chicago continues to struggle to beat good teams. The reigning champs had no problem beating the Bulls for the third time this season, and Locked On Bucks tells you why.
What's up, everyone? Kane Pittman here from Locked On Bucks. Just minutes after Milwaukee completely destroyed the Chicago Bulls, 126-98. That's a 28-point win. And now the Bucks are 3-0 against the Bulls so far this season, which of course could have some ramifications when it comes to tiebreakers as the postseason draws near. The Bucks are 45-27 now on the season, and I think the big takeaway from this game is that the Bucks have their size back. Remember, for the most of this season, they have struggled a little bit on defense. It's been a bit of a roller coaster. But if you think back to the postseason last year, the advantage that the Bucks had in virtually every series along the way, they had the physicality and they had the size. They've missed Brook Lopez all season long. I think this has been overlooked in the wider NBA landscape. Because they still have Giannis, because they still have Drew, because they have Chris, it makes you overlook the difference that Brook Lopez makes to this team. But if you watch the Bucks on a nightly basis, you understand that he is a key piece to the defense. And now you also have Serge Ibaka out there. And what that allows the Bucks to do to always have big lineups if they want to go to them. Great rim protection with Ibaka, with Lopez, with Giannis back in, I think, the more comfortable role as the roamer on defense, the help defender, swatting shots, being an absolute menace on that end of the floor. So, look, Giannis did what he did. He had another 25 points, 27 for Drew Holiday. But I think the big story for the Bucks is the physicality and the size and the defense really starting to turn up, particularly in this matchup against the Bulls tonight. So, the Bucks look like they're in good shape. We know, as I said, it's been an interesting regular season so far, but now, fingers crossed, they're looking like health is on their side, at least for tonight. They're looking a bit more like the Bucks that we saw last year in the postseason, and they'll be hoping that continues on what is a pretty difficult schedule on the road to the postseason. We're going to break it down on the postgame pod. Frank will be with me wherever you get your podcasts, or of course now on YouTube.
Trae Young had himself a night in the Mecca. 45 points in Madison Square Garden was more than enough to beat the Knicks and take the spot of last night's best performance.
The best performance.
Hold up.
Hello, friends. My name is Brad Rowland, and Atlanta Hawks go into New York and get a big-time victory on the road at MSG on this Tuesday evening behind Trae Young and Bogdanović, combined for 77 points. Trae had 45 in his return to MSG for the first time since the playoffs. He was the story of the evening, both locally and nationally. And with the win, the Hawks are now back to 500 for the first time in a while. The Hawks are, of course, looking to get above 500 for the first time in a very long time on Wednesday with a road trip to Detroit. But for now, a quick victory on the road in New York and a back-to-back that is coming on Wednesday. We'll have full coverage of both games and much more on Locked On Hawks podcast.
The Orlando Magic picked up one of the best wins of their season by beating the Warriors at home last night. It wasn't pretty, but Locked On Magic says that's kind of how Orlando likes it.
This is Philip Rossman, the host of Locked On Magic, as the Orlando Magic get a 94-90 win over the Golden State Warriors, completing a 3-3 homestand. This was a game that was ugly from the start and really played it the way the Orlando Magic like. Good pace up and down the court, great defense from the Magic, but this is also a game that the Orlando Magic would have lost earlier in the year, and that's really the most important thing, and that's really the important thing that the Magic want to see from this young group. It's progress. It's taking the lessons that they learned in November and December, the hard lessons that they learned, and applying them and getting results, yes, results, here in the end of the season in March and April. The Magic had one bad quarter. They gave up 35 points to the Golden State Warriors, gave up a double-digit lead, fell down by as much as 14 points in the second half, and they scratched and they clawed and they got themselves back in the game and they put themselves in the lead. Big shots from Wendell Carter in the final 2 minutes. Big shot from Obama to give the Magic the lead for good. Big foul shots from Franz Wagner, and then a big play from Franz Wagner to ice the game. This was a young Magic team learning how to close games out, learning how to go through the ups and downs, as Jamal Mosley has said countless times this year, and learning how to get a W. Now, obviously, we'll see if that carries over into next season and if this win means anything at all. But tonight, it was a good win for the Orlando Magic. We'll have a lot more coming up on Locked On Magic. Until then, this has been Philip Rossman-Reich.
That's all for today on Locked On Now NBA. Thanks so much for making Locked On Now your first listen every weekday. And now that you're done here, go ahead and make your second listens Locked On NBA and your team's Locked On podcast. I'm Kim Becker. This has been Locked On Now, Locked On your team every day.